All right, people, welcome back to a Philly Escape Podcast, episode 29, with two guys today. We're down to mic issues. I don't even have the pop filter on. Just me and Brits riding with you today. It's been a while, but just in time. 7 days, Britsy. 7 days till we got football back in our lives.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Just
I thought it
good
was this
feeling.
week. When we were talking on the phone the other day, I thought it was this week was started, and I was very
Time,
upset.
time is a blur, isn't it, when football's this close and
I
you're just
know.
like, when's it actually happening? This Thursday, next Thursday?
I think it's because college football started, and I was thinking like, oh, it's got to be this week, and no, I
It
don't really
like gives
watch college
you
football, so
I think we're in the same boat there. Like it gives you a slight taste, but you're like, it's not.
yeah,
For me, it's like it's not that big of a
college
deal.
football's not even cool until like week 6,
Yeah. When it like gets
when
serious. I
everybody
mean,
gets ranked in the point right positions and stuff.
like the big teams go undefeated, and then
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you have two losses, your team sucks, bro. Like what?
yeah,
It's so much different than the NFL. I could just never get into it.
yeah. You don't even have
Um,
a team.
yeah, no, Drexel literally did not have a
I
team,
guess Penn
so
State.
so
Penn State's
uh,
kind of the Philly team, I guess.
yeah, but then people go to Pitt and he got Delaware and I don't know. My
Yeah.
grandmother did meet Joe Flacco the other day. Very personable
Oh
guy.
shit.
Um,
Well,
he
we know
he,
someone
he
who's related to him.
I know. I told her that too. But she met him. Didn't know, one of those situations where she didn't know who he was until someone pulled her aside afterwards and was like, that's Joe Flacco.
That's Super
She's
Bowl champion.
she's like, oh, I had no idea. I was just striking up a conversation with just a random guy, random day.
That's pretty sick.
Um, so yeah, my grandmother meets more NFL players than we do on this podcast, but
We
maybe
got
we'll host somebody
we
one
got to
day.
change that.
We'll change it up. I mean, considering Paul was on the plane with Tyrese Maxey and he's not on the pod right now,
Yeah,
I
everybody's meeting all
I
these Philly player or not Philly. Well, Flacco's kind of
yeah,
a hometown guy, but not
yeah,
a Philly player.
hometown, still like sports celebrities.
Yeah.
But I feel like if he asked him, like, sitting on the plane, hey Tyrese, like, my son has a podcast, would you want to help him out, get on it? Would he say no? Would Tyrese
He
say
would
no?
absolutely say no,
He would
but he
say
would be
no
nice about it.
with the stipulation of,
He'd probably
listen,
ask, "Oh, how many
it's
viewers do they get? Like, how big are they?"
no, I don't even think that's the problem. I think he would say no only because it's in my contract that I can't talk on a low budget, no viewers podcast. I feel like he
That's
would do it.
wishful thinking, but sure, yeah.
I feel like he would mess around, help a friend out, help a fellow Philly sports fan out. But let's talk about the Lions. All right,
Yep, week
week
one,
one,
week one.
week one. You have $20 on the line
Yep,
for this game, so you have a
fuck you,
lot on the
Adam. We're gonna
line
win.
here. That's Britz's buddy Adam. He's saying Lions over the Eagles, and I'm just like,
No odds, no odds. Guy's
I
insane.
I I was just talking to you about this. I feel bad that more money is not on the line here for you. I feel
Yeah,
like
I mean,
great opportunity for you to win some bucks here.
I would put
Uh,
100 on this game. I think with no
I
odds.
it would be a huge disappointment to lose to, and it's kind of like, if we're gonna lose, like, yeah, just take my money. Like, you're
Right.
right. Things are just bad. But you have a lot of people on sports radio right now doing the I hope they lose to teach them a lesson. If you are ever that guy, you are not an Eagles fan. I'm sorry.
I,
Just like, please, like, get out of the room.
I've heard so much of that. Just
It's ridiculous.
like if the Lions or I hope the Lions beat us because we didn't practice hard in the training camp and all that stuff. Like,
Teach us a
what are you
letter.
talking
Why?
about, man? You want to
Where,
start off
like,
0-1?
where are they coming from? Like, even like, I feel like it's a lot of the Jalen Hurts haters too that are like, I just want him to lose to prove that he's not the guy, so we move on faster. Like, Jalen's not a guy, like, you rather just hope that he does good, even if you don't really believe in him yet.
Yeah,
Because I think we're all in that same boat of like,
I
what's the
think
Jalen Hurts
there's no
answer
reason not to like Jalen as like a
as a
guy.
guy,
Yeah. So I mean,
as a
I don't
human?
really understand why people seem to not like him.
So we're in the same boat here. It's a week one win, but the question now is why. Let's break it down for the people out there. It's probably a lot that we need to break down, but
Yeah.
give us a simple, 1-2. Eagles are going to win because they're flat out the better team.
I mean,
What is it?
it's definitely that we're flat out the better team. Also, I mean, the Lions are they're definitely gotten better. They're not
They've gotten better.
I don't think they're the Lions of the past. I don't think they're like a 2-win, 3-win team anymore. They're probably gonna, come out and not shock people, but I think they're gonna come out and be a better team than where maybe get like 7 wins around that point. If they get higher than that, that's even better. But The Eagles are coming off a playoff loss that we didn't think we were ever
Yeah.
going to make it to the playoffs. I think we're hungry. I think we're going to come out and actually play like the team that we're supposed to be this year, where everybody knows how much better we got this offseason. Our O line is still fantastic. Our defense is 10 times better than it was last year, and the Lions don't have firepower. I mean, they don't really have
But yeah,
firepower. Like I'm not
yep,
afraid of anybody on that team. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a good player, but he's their number one option. So I think you put Slay on him, and we're probably going to be fine. I don't think he's going to tear us up too bad. And
agree,
their
totally agree.
offensive line got better. Uh, but I still don't think it's enough for them to attack us through the running game. DeAndre Swift's a great running back, but still, I mean, I think that defensive line's gonna hold their own and pretty much stop
Yeah,
that.
it's not like he's CMC. Derrick Henry can like kind of take over the game, and
Right.
I would agree. There's just the Lions. I agree with your whole like summary there. Of the Lions were bad. You know, they were 2-win team consistently that for years. Moving in the direction where they could get better, where I feel like they're moving towards mediocrity right now. Like
Yeah,
that that's
they're gonna
that's
be
kind of their
more like
ceiling for this year. I don't think they'll be, maybe the top 3 pick in next year's draft, but I'm saying like, I think they're still going to be top 10. I don't think they're going to be a
yeah.
team that just changes overnight, unlike the Eagles where you see all the pieces. Yeah, maybe they get some picks and do some things on the offensive line.
They're
I think they really tried to bolster the defense up,
they're kind of
but
like we were last year in a way. Like
like this should be their 8 or 8 and
yeah. I
9,
mean,
9 and 8 season for
people
them.
people thought
And
we
that's
were
a good season.
right. People thought we were gonna kind of stink last year, and we got better.
Exactly.
We the Lions, everybody thinks they're gonna stink every year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, now that they have a little bit more going for them, I think they're gonna be in the middle of the pack. And
I,
also,
I yeah, I think Alliance fans would be happy for me to say like I think they're on the up and up this year, trending towards that 7-10, 8-9. Like
right,
I think that's a win. I think that's a good season for them if they go that far.
I think so too. And
It's
also,
huge.
I mean, Jared Goff, not a mobile guy, not a great quarterback. I think
Yep.
our rush might destroy this guy. We might see like a 4-5 sack game.
A guy under pressure, just
Yeah,
not doing well.
I think we
Yeah.
might eat him alive this game. I can see that being the focal point of
Game one.
what we take away from this game.
You just kind of freak him out before he gets settled into the
Yeah.
season. Yeah, it could be. I mean, Jared Goff under pressure could be really bad for this. For that, and this team on the Eagles side of things is just looking good. But like I agree with you, no firepower from receiving core. They're not going to have Jamison Williams. I think probably for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I think the Lions are excited about what they're doing, but I don't think there's anything that's scary. Like as a comparison, you know, going against the Falcons like we usually do, right? It's, yes, they're always a bad team, but they kind of have offensive firepower where Julio could always tear us up somehow,
And
go for
Matt
300
Ryan is
yards,
always a consistent guy. He's
and
never gonna have a
always
terrible game.
good, could actually somehow beat the Eagles, even though they're a bad team overall.
Yeah.
But I just don't see that with the Lions. I think they're just still a bad team. Swift is probably their high talent, and then you have Hawkinson, but doing
Look at my
nothing crazy.
look at my cat. See my
I
cat?
know you got him trapped in
I
here.
think I gotta let him out.
I think so.
One
It'd be
second,
hard to
guys.
go full 40 minutes watching Britz's cat try and escape. That just ain't right. And look how furry he is now. So who
We
was
take care of
that?
our
Jeff?
pets here.
Was that Jeff?
Jeff?
So
It's-
so what Jeff is telling all of us Eagles fans is let the man run, let the men run. Because the Lions, they had a bad rushing defense. They had a terrible defense overall, and like I said, I think they bolstered that up with Aiden Hutchinson. I forget what pick he actually was, but
He's number 2 overall, I think.
number 2 overall. And then they're trying to add some pieces there. Jeff Okuda from last year, which was their 3rd overall pick in the draft last year, coming back because he had the torn Achilles in the season, last year.
Hmm.
So better defense. I don't think there's even defensively. I don't think there's like names that stuck out free agency or offseason wise, like the Eagles, where you're bringing over
No.
Bradbury, Hassan Reddick. Now CJ coming over from the Saints. So I just feel like I guess what's our strategy that's really gonna, from an offensive perspective, that's really just gonna, because we think the defense is just gonna tear apart Jared Goff. So
Yeah, I'm not worried about the defense in this game. I guess it would be the offense would be a concern if there is one. I don't want them to come out flat because I feel like we have a tendency to do that in the first game of the season, especially the offense. Um,
Come out fast.
I want
Yep.
yeah, I just want us to. I don't want to say like take the top off right away, but like let's get some like
I would love that, dude.
you
Top
know
off the AJ Brown,
yeah.
80-yard
I
touchdown.
mean, like the old days when I feel like every first game of the season when we had Deshaun Jackson, dude,
You're,
he
you're,
was going 80 yards every game, and it
yep.
was we might even lose the game, but he did it all the time.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah. I mean, Mike Vick to Deshaun. You had Foles to Deshaun. I mean,
yeah,
guys who could throw the long ones too.
yeah.
So,
I
all
mean,
right. So let me. Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, you continue on that, and then I
Okay.
got to follow up.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see a little bit more of just let's get the wide receivers going. Let's not just consistently run the ball. I mean, if it works, it
I
works.
agree.
But like, I would like to see a little bit mix up because I think that we have the offense to do that now. Like we talked about this in the earlier podcasts, where
Yeah.
we're not just a run heavy team anymore. I mean, we might go back to that at some points when it's going to work, but I definitely want to see Jalen winning us the game.
Do you
Especially against a
think?
bad team like the Lions are.
I agree. I think Jalen should win the game. It shouldn't come down to, all right, this was a defensive win and it was a close game and we
Yeah.
had to like just close it off quick. Do you think Sirianni now starts to scheme this offense, putting more trust in Jalen, where he's a quarterback leading the team versus because you look at other teams like, you know, once Pittsburgh eventually goes to Kenny Pickett, right?
Yeah.
Where you can kind of scheme it for rookies where it's just like purely dump passes just across the middle, where it's like the offense is not built around the quarterback. It's kind of, we're setting this up. So Kenny,
Right.
you just do the easy pass. Are we moving away from that now that Jalen's in, what I would call a year or two for him?
I would definitely hope so. I think,
I think he can. I think we
yeah,
can.
I don't see why he would like kind of do what he did last year, and like, I mean, it's not like he coddled him last year,
I
but
don't,
but
yeah,
but
yeah.
I know what you're saying. Like, I would like to see him step into like a let's see if he can throw the ball,
I want
35
to I
times
want
a
to
game,
see
you
an
know?
electrifying offense, something that's like exciting. It's
Yeah.
big passes.
I
It's
don't want
not
to see
just
him throwing it 45 times, but like 35, like because a couple times last year, he was only throwing the ball like 25, 22 times. Like it was like not a lot of
not a
passes
lot
at
of
all.
passing,
Because I mean, he only had 11 touchdowns,
right?
through the air, I think. So
Because if you looked at the runs, I mean, half are probably schemed, half are probably break
yeah,
out of a bad situation. So
yeah,
it's,
yeah. I would like
uh,
to see
you
him.
know,
I would like to see him though, like instead of just take it off and run and maybe dump it off and to the run
yeah,
back on the screenplay or something like that, or just throw it away instead of always going for the run. Even though he is really good at it, I don't want him to get hurt. So that's like
yeah,
one thing. But also, I kind of want him to get into that mindset of being a passer, not just
right.
a Lamar Jackson type kind of thing.
He seems like because I think that's the big question mark, right? Is Jalen a running quarterback? And it's a good question. It's like he's a running quarterback that you could see turning into a better passing quarterback that still has the running ability first, as opposed to, okay, this guy only runs and that's his game, and maybe his passing could be mitigated by the running. I
Yeah,
think Jalen can actually get better at the passing part of becoming a passing quarterback that can also run.
absolutely. And I think that's the way you see the best quarterbacks in the league play. It's it's not,
Right.
oh, my first option's gone, I'm taking off. It's I have to run, so I'm going to run. Like,
Right.
and that's I
This is
think
the
Patrick
only
Mahomes.
option.
I think Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes does that incredibly, and Josh Allen also does that incredibly. And those are literally the two best quarterbacks in the league right now.
And
So,
those are the new up and coming top 1, 2 quarterbacks in the league, modern day quarterback.
right.
And that's what they look
And
like.
I think you see that all the time with Patrick Mahomes, just scrambling for 10 yards, getting a first down, just because he saw the opening and nobody was open. You know?
Or even bootlegging and then finding the receiver
Yeah.
as he's scrambling.
Yeah,
So
I would love to see that too. That's a good point. Like when Jalen's like it's a broken play or whatever, and he's on the run and making a pass, that'd be so good to see.
does he find his Kelsey or Tyreek Hill version of his
Yeah,
offense that he could have in Devontae Smith?
yeah.
Devontae Smith could really be breaking legs here if he's getting that second
We got
cornerback.
three legitimate threats catching the ball this year. So
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
and hey, I like Pascal out there too. If he's a third
yeah,
receiver, you
Pascal
got
and Quez.
Quez for speed. I just don't want this offense being just okay. We're going to do a wide receiver screen to Quez and try to open things up that way. When I just rather them look downfield. Jalen become more of a pocket quarterback, make his reads. You even if the accuracy of the throw's not there, you have an AJ Brown who can make up for it. So I feel like you have the weapons around you. We obviously know it's a prove it season. We've talked about that plenty of times.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm wondering how going into this, I'm always of the mindset. This has always just been my background growing up. Love running backs, love the running game. Don't be afraid of the running game as we're not moving in a passing type of league. But I think you have to pass here, but do it in a smart way where, on that first play, run the ball. Don't
yeah.
get a 0-yard play and then have to run it on the second down.
Mhm.
We
And
know we know we don't like that. So
yeah, absolutely. And going back to the receivers a little bit, I really like. I think we haven't talked about this particularly, but we have talked about the receivers. I like the fact that we have like 3 or 4 different guys like catching the ball
different
this year
guys.
that are all,
Yep.
yeah, like I said, all different. They're just they have different like skill sets, and they're all good at one, like really good at one thing, and then we have 2 guys that are like good at everything. Like I mean,
Yep.
AJ Brown and Devontae Smith can pretty much do anything you ask them to do. You got Quez can take the top off. You got Dallas Goddard in the middle. He's great at those slants. He's great at like just getting us like 8 yards when he needs to. And I just think that's what you want from a. I mean, I'm gonna say it, but I'm not saying we're gonna win the Super Bowl. But that's what you want out of a Super Bowl team, like a guys that all have strengths and you can use them in different ways and just have a very dynamic offense.
And let's touch on that for a second because I like the fact that you said Super Bowl because I feel like what people are saying it's not like people are saying the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl like this is our
Yeah.
year type of thing. I feel like they're more saying where you're going with this is that when you think of a Super Bowl team,
Right.
this is the kind of team that you think about. Not to
Yeah.
say that they're going to make that huge jump right now,
Yeah.
and obviously Jalen's going to be a huge part of that. But if you think of Super Bowl as a team win, 2017 team win where Nick Foles stepped up. I don't think Jalen's pulling your team back or being a liability
No.
from winning when you had that much talent.
I'd be
And then,
surprised if he did.
yeah,
I'd be surprised if he held us back this year.
if he
Very
was holding
surprised.
us back.
Yeah.
Right, right. Where you can argue, maybe Jared Goff being in the Super Bowl, he fit the scheme and McVay really worked with him to get him to that point. More
Right.
of a scheme making a quarterback look good versus vice versa. And, he's kind of the thing that held him back from really, you know,
Yeah. And if you
putting up
look
points.
if you look at the playoffs last year against the Bucks, and I mean we got blown out. There's no other way to say
Got
it.
blown out. Yeah,
But
it's clear.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think that was just a one, the roster just wasn't good enough to go against the Bucks. And two, I think their defensive scheme was so good for us because they literally just stacked the box on us. We could not do anything, and we
Yep.
just didn't have enough receivers. Like I don't know, it could be Jalen not seeing guys, but I also don't think that we just had guys open fast enough. You know, I don't think
And
we
that's
had.
what yeah, I believe it. I mean, when Jalen's out or Jalen Rieger is out there, I don't think he's running the routes that's getting the separation
Yeah,
needed
you
to
got to
help
get
Jalen out.
separation quick on those kind of plays because Jalen's getting attacked. Like
He's right.
yeah. So it's like you can't really run the ball. You gotta. It's what Tom Brady does so well. When people do that to him, and if you blitz Tom Brady, he's gonna get 8 yards on
He's
you.
he's not getting sacked. The man
Yeah,
doesn't get sacked.
yeah.
And if it's based on of his release point, how quickly he gets the ball out.
He finds the
And
guy.
for him, it's not like he's always had the receivers, so it can't say it's the receivers that just help that, or that's the majority of what helps that. But it's when you have Jalen Rieger versus now AJ Brown and opening things up for Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, things are going to be good.
Yeah.
And rely on your running backs in those dump passes. I mean, if you dump it off to
Mhm.
Miles or Gamewell, 20-yard pickup, I'll take that. I'll take that every day.
I just don't.
Um,
The only thing with that, the dump offs, is I see this not just from us, but so many teams. I hate the dump offs when you're literally throwing it to your running back so he's gonna get annihilated by the corner. Like
when he yeah.
just throw it away at that point. Like you're probably just gonna lose 3 yards anyway if you do that.
Well, it's a big risk because it's a fumble. It's something that's
Yeah,
or you
like
lose
throw it to a
yardage.
side that has guys that are ready to block at least. Don't throw it to a single
Single guy,
running
open
back.
field with
Yeah, open field with
who's
nobody blocking. I
got
hate
a
that.
guy coming up.
I hate
Yep.
seeing teams do that. Especially us. And I just feel like there's 2 plays I always say that I do not like happening. That's
I
one.
hate throwing sideways. Yeah. Well,
That's
go ahead.
one of them. If it's not like a designed screen and there's nobody blocking, or the fucking patented throw the ball on first down, incomplete, and then run it
Yep.
on second down. I hate it.
Yep.
I hate it. I hate it. It never works. you get 2 yards and now it's 3rd and 8. I hate it so much.
And now it's 3rd and 8, and now there's pressure on because of the down, even
Right.
though it's really only 8 yards. But it's a good point because it's just your
If you're gonna
teams just
throw one
pick up
first,
on it.
throw it again. Like, you know?
Teams just pick up on it. All right, they didn't throw it,
Yeah.
on their or they didn't run on the first
Or
one.
do something
It's coming.
special, like do some kind of special play to make sure we get some good yardage here, you know?
Yeah, no. I mean, throwing sideways, it doesn't make sense for progressing down the field. It just, it just doesn't actually. And I see the visual play that you're saying when you
Yeah.
say, all right, they're throwing out it's a guy in the flat,
Yeah.
open field,
And here
corner
comes
coming
their
up quick,
corner just on him in
makes
1 second.
makes
Yeah.
makes the plant, and he goes. I
Yeah.
see it. I feel that play. Um, Flipping onto the defensive side, because there's a lot of these pessimists who say, these are the same guys saying want the Eagles to lose week 1. Are you afraid of a Jared Goff?
No. Are people
I
saying
mean,
that?
we kind of say.
Yeah, we
I
gotta
think
go
people are
over
saying.
that, but
I think people are saying, Jared Goff played in the Super Bowl. He's beat the Eagles before. We've also beat him. I think. I think it might be a tied record. If not, it might be
it
three
must have been on the
3-1
Rams, right?
against
Because I don't
Jared
think
Goff.
we played the Lions,
When he
have we?
when he was on the well, we did. We beat them last year.
Oh, we did? Okay.
We killed him, I think.
Probably.
But so
I
my
don't remember
point
that one.
is, I guess the question is Jared Goff someone to be afraid of? Is he a
Yeah, I
guy
mean,
that was just schemed up by McVay to make him look good?
I think we've pretty much we already talked about this a little bit earlier, but
Yeah,
I think what you're getting at is I think we've seen Jared Goff for what he is now
enough.
on the Lions. He's not on a good team. Obviously, going from the Rams to the
He's
Lions,
not.
pretty
He's not.
fucking big L on the front.
So
Like,
much less to work with. No
yeah.
offensive line, no receiving
But
core. I mean,
like there's quarterbacks in the league that are like good, and they have bad teams, and they play good either way. Like, I mean, look at Matt Stafford. He was literally on the Lions, and he was still
put
very
him in a
good.
different
Still,
situation.
yes, he was still very good on the Lions. Jared Goff is not that guy. I don't think he can up a team enough to
You take them over the
yeah,
hump and
yeah. I don't think because
get to.
I think a lot of Lions fans right now are like on the same page too. Like, I think their team is getting better, and they're kind of just hoping for like a draft a good quarterback in the next couple of years.
Okay, so if we're saying we're not worried about Goff, this is an easy win for the Birds. What do you want to see in this win coming out of our players? Whether that's one guy that comes to mind that just came to this team from the offseason, one guy who's improving from the last year, whether it's Devontae Smith or, some of those other rookies. What do you want to see out of this team getting this win that's promising for this season?
I guess there's two things I would look for in this game. It's one, I want to see pressure from the defense consistently, especially on like I know their offensive line is okay. I don't think they're as I mean I think they're ranked really high. I think they're like number 4 or something, and I think we're like 1.
Because
um,
they added Sewell
they got Sewell and they
a
got
couple years ago.
somebody else that they traded for. I
Okay.
think I can't remember his name. Um,
Okay.
but with all the additions to our defense and our pass rushers, I think we should be able to get pressure on anybody in this league. I don't like just because you have a great offensive line
I
doesn't
agree.
mean you shouldn't get any pressure during the game. You know?
Yep.
So I
Absolutely.
want to see pressure, consistent pressure. I want to see some sacks because we've been severely lacking in that category the last couple of years. Um, and I want to see Jalen comfortable. I want to see. I don't want him to look frantic out there. And as far as other guys, like obviously I want to see AJ Brown do what he's supposed to do. I want to see
Sure.
Devontae take a little like more of a leap. Obviously it's week 1, so can't really judge it by one game. But I want to see AJ Brown do what he's supposed to do, be that number 1 guy, get you know 90, 100 yards, hopefully, something like that. I mean,
Be
that's
his
not
same
it's
self.
not it's
Yeah.
not like you're asking a lot for him to get 90 yards, you know.
It's
So
kind of like the expectation.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I agree.
and yeah, just see Jalen comfortable out there. Don't want to see him frantic. Don't want to see the offense look like discombobulated or anything like that.
Yeah. No, there's a lot to see on both sides. I would say if I'm starting on the defense, it's exactly that. It's that defensive line, seeing how they play. I think it'll take some time maybe to see how the corners and how the back seven really start to function because you added a lot of pieces,
Yeah,
especially in the linebacking core. So you're gonna take some time to see how that gels. You've added so many pieces in the linebackers, it's almost okay if like a couple don't exactly work out. But you want like Hassan Reddick to be that guy that he was for the Panthers and the Cardinals, being more of a sack guy. I mean, the Eagles had, I think, 19 sacks last year. So just very low amount,
I
actually,
thought that was
compared to.
less.
Yeah, I would have thought less, honestly, because you don't.
Yeah,
If you had to guess the top sack leaders, Who would you think? I guess right on one, I think, just looking at it, but I totally
S-
forgot about this other guy that we had.
Was it Sweat?
Sweat was one of them.
Sweat and it wasn't Fletch, right?
No, it was Hargraves.
Oh,
So,
okay, yeah, Hargrave. Yeah,
which is
I
both,
think he had a sack game or something like that.
yeah. So both with 7.5 sacks with Hargraves on the interior line. It's like
Yeah.
it's really impressive. So you hope he does the same things. You hope Josh Sweat starts to take a step up. Barnett, you can kind of say, he's a more of a role player now. You really hope that Brandon Graham can still, coming off of that injury, I think torn Achilles, if I'm not mistaken,
I
just
can't remember
looks
what
the
it was
same.
exactly.
But
He's
they're going to go with the first rotation of being veteran guys. So you're
yeah.
almost looking for, okay, I think Hargraves are pretty high confidence that he'll kind of do what he does. But I think it's Fletcher and Brandon Graham where you're like, okay, I know we got some new pieces. We got Hassan Reddick. We got um, Jordan Davis on the inside. He's still a rookie. He's going to take some time, but can those veteran guys be the same that they've been in years past? And that's why, Fletch is on a 1-year deal right now. He's kind of like a prove it. Are you going to continue with us? I don't think he just resigns after this year. I think this is kind of we want to keep him in here, teach up Jordan Davis, and
Yeah. I mean,
see what happens from there.
I can see going back to Brandon Graham a little bit. I could see him, maybe taking a good amount of plays off this year. I don't think he's gonna be. I mean, I don't think we're ever gonna see Brandon Graham we used to
I,
see anymore.
I don't think I think he's here because he's leader of the defense. You pay him for his leadership to be there out there on the field. If not, maybe he can get 3 sacks this year, 4 sacks, like still be serviceable, but maybe he's not the same,
Yeah.
kind of like 7 sack, 8 sack kind of guy
Nah.
on the season.
Yeah. Exactly. I could see some of these like younger guys like Derek Barnett maybe like coming into like I don't know if he plays the left side a lot, but um
Because you remember Brandon Graham was a first round pick, and he didn't pan out in those beginning years. You're
yeah,
also wondering if Barnett can kind of do the same thing where the city can really grow around him
yeah.
for him to
He
actually
had a
prove
good
that he.
camp too. That's what I've been hearing a lot is that he had a good camp.
I
So
just I the only thing with him, I just don't think he has the right attitude. He's getting in fights. He's always penalized for being offsides or jumping offside. So with him, it's like if he had the right attitude, maybe he would finally prove that he has the talent too. But
yeah. It's
we'll
tough.
see what he can.
It's tough with the older guys in the line. Like you want to see Brandon Graham, you want to see Fletch being themselves, but it's almost a little bit too much. Well, I mean Fletcher Cox, I still expect a lot out of him. You know, I feel like
You still do with his size.
yeah,
With
just the player that he is. Like obviously he's a little older now, but he's just Fletcher Cox, man. Like he's one of the best. He's been one of the best tackles we've ever had.
you got to prove it. Yeah,
Yeah. So
I mean he's just the type of guy where he's probably aging faster than Aaron Donald, but you want him to hold out for some good
right.
years.
Yeah.
Like Aaron Donald's will probably go for a long time with his side speed, agility. But
And Jordan Davis obviously is right behind him, so it's not terrible if he's not the best.
the expectation with him is I really just want him to see him destroy people,
Yeah,
just flat
I
out
mean,
take 3 guys on at
he's
once, like
bigger than Fletcher Cox, if you can
just for the
believe that.
fun of it.
If you can
Bigger
believe
and
that.
faster, and probably stronger. So it's
Crazy.
really scary. It's really
We got
scary.
some big men on this team, man, on this line,
If
like really big guys.
big,
Like,
freaking huge. If Jordan Davis doesn't get a single sack this season, but he took up 3 guys on the offensive line every game,
yeah,
I'm like, okay,
having
you
him on
did
the
your job.
inside is like, whew,
Literally huge.
how do you stop him? How do you
Yeah,
how do you just put one guy on him?
I don't want to face him. He no that panned out great in the draft this year.
Yeah,
But for going to the offensive side, I agree with you. AJ Brown, kind of just expect what I expect with him to do the same things. Devontae Smith, I want to see him take a step up. I want to see what it looks like with how much time Jalen has in the pocket. I feel like he'll get a lot of time. I expect the running game to kind of be the same it's always been. So I'm not trying to, if anything, I just want to see Jalen have the time, make the reads. First read doesn't work. Okay, I'll go to Devontae Smith across the middle in the slot, whatever it takes to kind of just make the open look and make the throw.
yeah.
Um,
I would like
because
to see us use the middle of the field more instead
yeah,
of just going to Dallas Goddard in the middle because it seems like anytime we're throwing
just
there,
going tight
it's
ends.
just him. Yeah.
I mean, that's what Carson was with Zach Ertz back in the day too. So I feel
Yeah.
like we'll see. We'll see what happens. You got a score to prove how much confidence you have in this Eagles team going into Detroit.
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest, but
I'll be watching this game in Germany, spending whatever I have to spend to watch it
oh
at
yeah,
7
you'll be in
o'clock.
Germany. That's tough. I
7
forgot.
o'clock, 7 p.m. start. I'll go
Uh,
all night if I have to.
okay, so I'm gonna go with. I think I think the defense is gonna do well. So I'm gonna go with 27-14.
Okay. So your defense is strong start. I mean, that's a great defensive game if you hold them to
I think
14.
I think we're gonna keep them low.
Okay.
I wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a closer game, like maybe like 27-21, 27-20, something like that. But I have confidence in the defense. I'm actually really confident in the secondary. And I think
That's
I
another thing we talked about is Jonathan Gannon has toys now. So how does he
yeah,
use them? How does he scheme this up?
yeah.
So,
I can
okay.
see a
So
couple
more of
picks
a
going on, maybe like
I see some picks. I see
yeah.
some picks in our Eagles future this year. Between Slay another 8 pick season this year. Big play.
Phew,
Um,
that'd be awesome.
that'd be
How many had
amazing if we.
last
I
year?
want to say two. I
Only
want to say
two?
two, 2 or 3.
Nah, no way. You had to like have like
You
four.
think? I'm starting to think of the plays
Because didn't he have like two return
as
for a
they wrap up.
touchdown
Uh,
or like he had like a fumble recovery. He had like three touchdowns last year or something like that.
what do you got? What do you got on the season?
I'm saying
Come on,
four.
come on, stats.com. Interceptions, 3.
Fuck. Okay. Those are,
It definitely seemed like more, but
yeah.
I just thought
I think
back.
it's
It
because he
just
had so many touchdowns.
didn't seem like enough.
He had 3 picks and
Yeah,
3 touchdowns. Or was it 3 or 2?
I mean, he had one touch. It's saying one touchdown, but I'm thinking that's from an interception. I don't know, maybe other fumbles. It seemed like he
Yeah,
did a
but
lot
I
more.
know we had a fumble recovery touchdown, I think.
He
I don't
played
know.
really well either way.
Yeah. I mean, he was a Pro Bowler, so.
So okay, so I had to think about this. I feel like it's going to be another Falcons Week 1 game of last year where the offense just comes out, putting up at least 30 points, maybe almost a deceiving win where it's like, oh, they're going to blow teams out week in, week
Yeah,
out.
that's how it was last year.
Um,
It's
you got to remember
very
it's a
deceiving.
bad team. You got to remember it's a bad team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the season, I'm still predicting. Let's think about this for a second. What you're happy with and what you're predicting. So I think they could go 11-6.
Yeah. I mean, I want 10 wins. That's what I would be happy
That's your
with.
happy lift floor.
Because
I think
we gotta be better than last year.
I I agree. That's definitely my floor. You have to take a step up.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed if you're under 10.
I want 10
But
wins. I
I'm
could
almost moving.
realistically see 12.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I could
I agree.
realistically see. I know this sounds like people are saying like this, like
Realistically, I totally agree.
around the league. I don't think anybody's saying like, oh, the Eagles are gonna win 12 games. And I know we sound like homers right now, or I do at least. But you got to think we won 9 last year. And then we didn't need to win the last game.
It's progression. Right.
And we're a much better team this year. So I don't
It's a,
see why 12 or 2 extra wins, or I guess technically 3, but 2 extra wins
is
would
that
be
hard? Is
crazy.
that far out? Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't 10-7 doesn't 17 seem like too many losses though? Like 10-6 seems like
What, 7 losses you said?
yeah, 7 seems like a lot.
It does. It does seem like a lot of losses because it's just weird with an extra game now, I think.
Yeah, but
Because when you said you went 10-6, you barely
like
made the
that's
playoffs.
right,
You probably barely made the playoffs. You got the wild
right.
card slot because you probably didn't win your division with 10-6 unless you're in our shitty division. Uh,
Because
um,
I'll put it this way: like 12-5 teams, 11-6. Those are the teams where it's like this team is having a season. We're going to the bowl. You can really make an argument like this is the year. And I feel like if you're more of a 10-7 team, it's like all right, we'll get in as a scrappy team in the wild card, and we'll see what happens.
yeah, I
So
don't think that's that
it
kind of year
seems
this
like the
year.
Eagles. It seems like the Eagles are a step above that. And so I don't think the 10-7 season would really be a disappointment, but it's kind of like, they're better than this, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I mean, if we make the playoffs, it's whatever. Obviously,
It's
that's all it really matters if we make
That's
the
what I care
playoffs.
about, and that's
Yeah.
what I care about, and that's what
Um,
makes it hard to say. But
but winning the division with 12 wins, maybe getting like a what 3 seed will be
yeah,
awesome.
I'll top 3. Maybe even if you don't get that bye as a week
Because
1 as
yeah,
a top seed.
yeah, because the seeds work.
Now,
You have to win your division to be in the top 4, right?
you have to win your division to be that top 4,
Right.
and
So
there's
if even if a team has
right,
a better record than you still get the seed above them because you won your division.
correct,
Okay. So yeah, so I could
correct,
see us getting a 3 seed potentially.
by winning that division, but maybe
Maybe
having a
there's
lower
one
record
team that has a better record than us that we
compared to
beat because
other
they
teams.
yeah, because if you think about it, actually I don't know. The NFC is not crazy strong this year.
It's not. I mean, Aaron Rodgers losing his guy and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, you lose Russell Wilson,
You you
he
lose
goes to
Russ from that.
AFC. Yeah.
Broncos Nation. So, uh, uh, it's still probably the Packers getting in there. I mean, the Cardinals have the Rams definitely
That's what I was
will
gonna
be
say.
there.
The
Rams will be there,
the
100%.
I could see potentially the
Top seed Rams,
well, yeah, possibly. Well, I could see it being Bucks,
Bucks,
Rams, 1 and 2,
Rams,
and then
100%.
I could see dude. I think the Vikings are gonna be good this year.
They could
I
be
think they
good.
might win that division over
They
the
could be
Packers
good. I
because
see it. I see
I
it.
could see that happening, and I could see the Packers maybe having like a similar record to us, but the Vikings have a really good year and they beat them out.
I mean, even with Rodgers getting to the playoffs, they really haven't done anything in the
Yeah, no,
playoffs as of the
it's cr-
last.
it's
He's
crazy
got the
how
one Super Bowl, but
yeah. Talk about like if there's ever a team that was so good that just you could still say that was a letdown, it's the Packers the last like
I
five
I'd
years,
have to agree. I mean, getting beat by the Niners in those playoff games, like
That was
just
tough because the Niners snuck into the playoffs.
yeah, they had that running game. So does Packers though. They had a decent running game in
Yeah, I mean them losing
Adams.
Devontae is pretty huge. I
Or,
mean they got
yeah,
a couple young guys. They got Lazard. They lost MVS. That's tough too. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I mean
Some
I
guys,
just don't see them
good
being as
pieces.
dominant as they were last year. I know it's Aaron Rodgers. He can literally probably work with
But
anybody,
but
but
but it's Aaron Rodgers still throwing up 30 plus touchdowns, so it's going to somebody. That's why I picked up Alan Lazard, but at the same time, like not really being a winning team,
I could
maybe getting the playoffs and first round
if
out kind of
he
thing.
gets another MVP season with what he's lost on the receiving core. I mean, this just crown this guy king, dude. Like,
And I
this,
and I hope it's Alan Lazard. I feel like it should play into playoffs should play into it somehow. I don't know. It's like I get it. I guess it's just
well, yeah,
based on the season,
it's
but
regular season MVP,
yeah, I
and
get
then
it.
there's
I get it.
but yeah, I don't know.
All right,
I could
so 35 to I'll say 35-21 Eagles because Lions get some comeback points at the end there, and Jalen stud his job for the day.
35-21. That's a good offensive game. I like that.
Good offensive game. It's big. Um, I just had a lot of hope on Jalen. There's something about the year two for me. I'm saying year two for those people who are still
Yeah,
calling it year three. Um,
he played garbage
some
time games in that
some
year.
something big about that rise. Something big about that jump from year one to two in the same system. Same coaching staff. I
Yep,
think there's something
that's
about
big.
getting a year under your belt and knowing how to go through the motions of a season. Even for Sirianni, for Gannon and
Yeah,
his, I feel like there's something
that's also
big
something we haven't really talked about. That was Sirianni's first year head coaching. Jonathan Gannon's first year as a defensive coordinator.
coordinator.
I mean, and we had a first time QB really. I mean, realistically, first year quarterback, starting quarterback. So
Give it time.
make it to the
Yeah,
playoffs with that, and then now to come back, add all this we did to the roster. It's hard not to be excited about this season.
it's hard, and we're the excited podcast.
Yeah,
We're the optimistic group here. That's trying to get people excited because there's too much negativity where it's like they're looking through I feel like people are constantly looking through a lens of, all right, we may have the green colored shades, but people are looking through that lens of just looking at every deal and looking at the negative part about it with
you know what?
AJ Brown. Oh, he's not as good as what people think. Okay, CJ, oh well, he's got a personality or attitude about like I'm just tired of it. I'm sick of it. I'm
It,
done. I'm over it.
Philadelphia,
Why?
we're
It's
such a
just the city.
we're such a
I'm not. It's
weird
not even the
city.
fans either. It's
It's
not
not.
always the
It's not.
fans.
It's
I'm
mostly
not going to
local
put blame on
media.
those
It's
fans.
mostly local media. I mean, it's
Ridiculous.
some fans, but the craziest thing I always think about it. I'm like, it seems like we've been bad for a while, just because of how the media talks. And when you really
Not that
look
long.
back at it, we've missed the playoffs once since we won the Super Bowl.
Once. We're not a Browns. We're not a Lions.
We won the Super Bowl, went back to the playoffs, one, two, three times,
Almost got to the NFC Championship.
almost got to the NFC Championship the year after, and then we missed the playoffs the year that we sucked.
Yeah.
We got rid of
Yeah.
Carson, and Jalen takes us right back to the playoffs, and now here we are now.
Missed a year of it.
I mean,
Missed 1 year.
how can you say that we're a bad team? How can people be so down on us? I don't get it.
And it says people when the Super Bowl was happening, it's like, would you give up years of losing? Would you give up your firstborn to get the Super Bowl? It's like, of course, naturally.
as one does.
Like Nick can name my child. Like I don't care. And then it's like, it's once we get a taste of it, we just expect more.
I
And
know.
well, I will say, I think it's a bad taste in our mouths because of Doug being on the podium saying like this is the new norm. But
Yeah.
we all thought that. We're like, all right.
I mean,
It's just
the
you
next
just can't
year,
look at football that way though. Like the
it's
team
so
is
hard to
so
be.
different every year.
Yeah.
Every year. Unless you're the Patriots. Unless you were the Tom Brady Patriots.
That the one team that's ever done it consistently is basically just them.
And it's just them. And you could go back, I guess, to the Cowboys in the 90s
Yeah,
and
fuck
like,
'em. We're not even gonna-
but screw that.
yeah.
We're not even gonna put a spotlight on that. But it's hard to be a dynasty team in football. It's just like non-existent.
It's
I
damn
would
near
say.
impossible.
It's a dynasty if you're consistently getting to the playoffs and have a potential chance for
Yeah. I mean,
the Super Bowl.
the Seahawks almost did it but then they screwed up and lost the Super Bowl, and then their team imploded. The Steelers did it. I think the Steelers won 2 or 3 or something like that.
You could really argue the Seahawks' disappointment by
Oh my
not
God, that
getting
team.
at least another one out of that Legion of Boom. I mean,
Well, I mean,
that
they
hurts. And
literally
Russ, of
were
course.
one play away
Well,
from
one
doing
play
it.
away. Oh man.
And of course, it was to the Patriots. That team just found ways to steal Super Bowls.
Well, between Russ and Mahomes, that's two Super Bowls that one more you give to Russ, one more you give to Mahomes, and 2 you take away from Brady. So it's like
the amount of
crazy.
Super Bowls that Patriots team won when they were not the better team is crazy.
Yeah, and they lost when they were clearly the better team. Giants 2 times.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's the crazy part. You're losing to Eli Manning. Okay, so let's you got anything left on the Lions? I want to kind of wrap up on a fun thing for us. You get to join it
I think
since you're good.
I think I'm good on the Lions. Yeah. I don't want to
All
talk
right,
about them too much.
since you're the only one joined, we get to do a little fun thing at the end here. It's not jerseys. We're not talking cute jerseys.
Okay,
but
what we got?
I'm gonna say some NFL teams, and when I say a team, you think of the player that you think of.
Okay.
And when you think of that player, think of it in a way it's like it almost describes that franchise. So I can give you an example to start
So
off.
it could be past players?
Could be past players, any
Okay.
players on that franchise today, in the past,
Okay.
and kind of like represents the feeling of that team.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so I can give you an example. Let's start with the NFC North, with the Lions. We'll do NFC East last. After we go through these, we'll go through a couple today.
I like this a lot.
All right, I had a lot of fun with this, thinking about this.
Okay.
All right, let's start with Chicago Bears, and I'll kick it off for you to give you an idea. I think when I think Bears, I think purely defensive.
Yep.
Never
We might be thinking of the same player.
never electrifying on the offense. Always like smokers, chain smokers. Jay Cutler, smoking a cig before the start of the game on offense. But defensively, Brian Urlacher is kind of a name.
Yep.
You could think Mike Ditka as a coach too. We could say coaches. I'll allow that. But Brian Urlacher.
Brian Urlacher was also my choice.
And I'm probably thinking in the 2000s range of players for a lot of these answers.
We gotta be talking about our lifetime here.
Yeah. So it's obviously relevant to us. But
yeah.
Okay, so we're in agreement on the Brian Urlacher. I like that. Answer. But right, like nothing fun on offense.
Yeah,
really
they were never electric on offense.
Just But probably the last team that stood a chance as far as like a defense being able to win the championship without an offense, like 2005 when they're playing the Colts. They lost to the Colts, but
Unless you're
they had a
talking
chance.
Patriots teams, which because
But
some of them they snuck out.
but quarterbacks, you got Jay Cutler, Kyle Orton, Rex Grossman. Like,
Yeah.
just who are these guys? How'd they get there? It was their defense. Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions.
I think it's one or two, but for the fun of it, I'll let you answer. We'll flip flop on who gives first answer.
Okay. Now this is weird because I got two guys immediately came in my
I got two guys in mind
and
too.
then neither of them are on the team anymore.
Like
so
same
so
answers probably.
first one that came into my head was Calvin Johnson, and then the second one was
Makes sense.
Matt Stafford.
I'm in the same boat.
So and
I'm in the
I
same boat.
almost went Barry Sanders as well. I mean,
Yes. So I
yeah,
thought about that,
yeah,
right? And obviously Hall of Fame, one of the
yeah,
best running backs, probably like top 3,
hmm
2 maybe.
yeah.
But
I
I
will, but I have to say, if we're doing just one guy, I went Calvin Johnson.
final answer
Yeah,
Calvin Johnson. I
because
agree
I
with
have
you.
to go with the first guy, but I will
And
mention honorable mentions.
here's why. Because I feel like he was the one guy who was good that you got excited about were the Lions, where it's like this is the one thing I can watch, but it never actually turned into anything playoffs wise or anything that actually worked out. And it's kind of the same story with Matt Stafford,
Yeah,
but it was like, 8 years in the NFL, retired way too soon, had many years left, but it was just kind of like, Detroit, sad story. We have something fun to look forward to, but it's like it really results in like nothing much
yeah. I mean,
for this, you know,
Calvin Johnson
it's
was
just kind of sad. It's
potentially
great, but sad. Potentially,
one of the. I would put him as like. I- It's hard
in
to
the
just because
in the, I
how
know.
like short his career was, but I mean I would just say he's a top 3 receiver of all time.
In the likes of Randy Moss, Terrell Owens,
Right.
as far as like pure
Jerry Rice,
athleticism
like
player,
dude.
he could be with those guys. He just doesn't have the
I
stats
mean
here to back it up.
he puts up like
The stats in the
in his
years that he
single
had,
season that like records that he has. It's crazy how
it's
much yards
insane.
he put up. I mean
It's so
he's
sad.
still the all time receiving leader, single season receiving leader.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. Stafford's obviously an obvious answer, but it's kind of like,
I love Matt Stafford, dude. I'm so happy he
yeah,
won the
I
Super
like
Bowl.
him. I like the guy. I like the guy. All right, so staying in the same division, Green Bay. Now it's kind of a 1 and 2 flip on the QB spot here.
Yeah, but
I think I'm going to go Brett Favre though over Rodgers.
I'm gonna go Rodgers
Okay.
because I don't like
Okay.
Brett Favre.
Okay.
I don't like him. I don't know why I don't
You
like
like
him.
the guy
I think it's you know what it was. I think we looked at this guy when we were kids as like this
as a hero, American
incredible
hero.
player, and he was an incredible
On
player. Yeah, and like this like icon. And then
he's
I think it was like a
yeah,
couple years ago. I went and looked at his stats. Like this guy's throwing like 18
so
interceptions a
many,
year, dude. Like,
so many. He's like
like
the Jameis. He's like a better Jameis Winston
yeah.
in a way,
I mean for his era, like he was like obviously like
almost 1-to-1.
he was like one of the most electric quarterbacks just because of how the way he played, and he's obviously a legend. There's no doubt about it. Just like just what he offered to the NFL and just his like personality and everything.
Here,
Um,
yeah. Here's my Brett Favre analogy: is like when you're a kid and you look up to your parents and you're like, oh, they're perfect, they're my heroes, or just like adults in general,
yeah,
like oh, they're so cool, or like they figure things out, like they're the heroes. Then you grow up and you realize like some people are just these adults don't have their shit together. Like
Brett Favre
how I
certainly did not have his shit
so it's
together.
like it's Brett Favre. It's like, oh, this guy's awesome. He's the man. And then you grow up and you're like 18 intercept. Like he's just like throwing it up there, just chucking
Yeah,
it up and
like
hoping for the best.
I mean,
But a
like
reason
how many Super Bowls did
reason
he win?
I think he won. He might have won two.
It's
He
either
might have
one or
won.
two, right?
He at least won one.
Yeah,
He at least won one. It might be one.
it might be
Might be
one.
one.
I think it might be one.
And so, but why I go with him, I feel like he fits the Green Bay aesthetic of just being scruffy, just like,
Yeah, he
whereas
does.
Aaron Rodgers is the more like hippie, just kind of
Yeah, not very similar
chill.
people.
I just feel like he fits the aesthetic of it.
I'm gonna go
Okay.
Rodgers only because to be behind Brett Favre and to exceed him by like a mile is crazy. The fact that like like they had Brett Favre, they had this legend, they had this Hall of Famer,
Uh,
and then they
Yeah.
just get a guy who's even better. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Legend to legend. That's amazing. How do you have that? But
Yeah,
I
Green
agree.
Bay's a very lucky football city.
I would agree that he's better. I would very
Yeah,
much agree.
I think most people would.
There's probably points where you could argue there, but okay, let's go Vikings. You answer first on this one.
Vikings.
This is a tough one too.
It's very
This is a
tough.
tough it's a tough
A
one
lot of
too.
legendary Vikings.
Yeah. This is a tough. There's like it's kind of like, is this guy the obvious answer because of numbers? But then it's also like, is this guy an obvious answer because of his numbers?
I'm just gonna go with the obvious one. I mean Randy Moss. But
Okay.
like I don't honestly I'm blanking on this guy's name. It was a running back.
AP.
Oh, but it's not even the one I was
You're
thinking
thinking
of.
you're thinking of another running back.
I can't remember. I think it was before AP's time.
Running back
I'll probably have to
before
look it up afterwards because I don't remember.
AP's
Dude,
time.
I forgot about AP on the Vikings. He's been on so many damn teams. And
I can't
obviously
think of the running back.
that was his main team. I mean, obviously that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, he did travel a lot towards the end there, and
Yeah,
I think he's still in the league technically. So
yeah.
it's kind of crazy. Um,
Randy Moss though, yeah. I mean,
had a
probably the best receiver of all time.
game named after him. Best, yeah, definitely. Uh, Probably definitely the best receiver of his type of receiving, and then I would say Terrell Owens best receiver of his being more of a stronger kind of just like aggressive guy versus
Yeah,
Randy Moss speed and just hops vertical. I probably have to go Randy
it's
Moss
hard
at the
not
end of
to.
the day. AP, I love AP as a running back.
Yeah,
Killed it. Almost
I
most
can't believe I kind of blanked on
rushing
him right there.
yards. Yeah, yeah.
I probably would have won
All right.
AP actually if I thought about it.
I don't know. That's tough. I
He just
really
doesn't.
sat
You
on
know what
that.
it is? I think it's because
I
he's been
really
on so
sat
many
on that.
teams. I think that's why he's not the
It
Vikings
it
guy that I
it
think he
hurts the
is.
legacy too.
Yeah.
It hurts the but
Mhm.
Randy Moss with going to Patriots, he kind
Patriots,
of
yeah.
moved a little bit, not as much maybe
But he didn't really.
you could
I mean,
say.
besides that 1 year with the Patriots, he didn't really like, make any marks on any other teams.
It's true. He definitely went crazy on the Patriots, but then it was kind of like, all right,
Yeah.
that's kind of the end of him. What do you say? One more?
Sure.
One more division? All right.
Yeah.
This is a fun one. We'll stay in the NFC. Let's go Atlanta Falcons. All right, and I thought about this one. I think I might know your answer.
See, this is a
I
team where
have to go. I have to go offense. Always fun offense. Always a fun offense. This
yeah,
is like the opposite. This is like the opposite of
the Bears.
the Bears, where it's
Yeah.
like they're purely offense. Never really had a defense in my mind. Gotta go Mike Vick. I think I gotta go Mike Vick.
I think
Just exciting. First guy like him ever in the NFL.
I think you have to go Mike Vick as well.
You're thinking Julio, but and like
It's the
Roddy
only
White
other
with the
one.
fun receivers, but I think it's Mike Vick. I think he's just exciting
What?
numbers,
Yeah, I mean he's like literally an NFL legend.
changed the game. Like,
Also Eagle. So
of course, there's some Homer's bias in that.
Yeah, but
Just
I first obviously Mike Vick is my answer, but I mean there's only really two guys and it was him and Julio, so I don't really know.
yeah.
I don't really remember much about the early Falcons besides Mike Vick.
You got some good
Like
running
early
backs
2000s,
mixed
sorry.
in. Guess you got Steven Jackson. You got Tony Gonzalez coming off of his tail end, who was still good. But I kind of think of Kansas City when I think of Tony Gonzalez. So
Yeah.
you might argue him, but still, I think it's Mike Vick.
Yeah, it's Mike Vick. I think it's a pretty unanimous answer.
I think it's unanimous. All right, you go first on this one. New Orleans Saints, and it's kind of like, all right, the easy answer. But if you want to be fun with it, I guess you want to say different answer just to be fun.
There
But
I got two
but I,
guys. Obviously is the one that we're both thinking of.
yeah,
But when I watched the Saints as a kid, and this was kind of like this wasn't a long period of time, but it was this is what I remember. Reggie Bush, dude.
so do I.
Reggie
So do
Bush
I.
is what I think of when I think of the Saints when I watched them
I
as a
think of a
kid.
fun, quick running back,
Obviously, Drew Brees is literally a legend, top 3 quarterback of all time
and it's
when
like,
it comes to stats.
yep.
Um, But Reggie Bush was electric for those couple
But
years.
I also think Deuce McAllister though too.
Deuce
I think,
McAllister, yeah, forgot
but
about him.
not but Reggie didn't really have he didn't have a good NFL career.
No, but the time he did have that wasn't insane was on
But
the Saints.
he was exciting. I mean, you think about the Eagles, Sheldon Brown knocking the
Sheldon
lights out
Brown,
of him.
yeah,
So it's there's some ties there. I would agree. You think of like a fun offensive guy.
yeah. I just remember Reggie Bush watching him. Like
Marquise Colston.
that's
You
the
think of some
Saints
good
guy.
receivers. You can think of some good receivers.
I think there was a corner
Joe
on the
Horn.
Vikings.
Joe Horn. Corner you're thinking of?
He had a
Yeah,
couple.
I feel like you think of flashy players,
Yeah,
like a flashy cornerback or a flashy receiver, running back, not necessarily
yeah. There's a
like fun,
cornerback I'm blanking
quick
on that
guys.
I'm
Yeah.
yeah. No, Reggie Bush
Um,
though, he was unreal. Sucked that he had a bad career.
yeah. No, but yeah, he's probably you could argue probably one of the best college athletes.
Oh
And
yeah,
I don't
definitely.
watch college football, but I just know that from hearing
Yeah.
people talk about it. All right, I'll go first on this one. Tampa Bay. This is kind of similar to the Bears, but not as bad of offenses in years past. But I think of them more of a defensive team,
Yeah.
and I think of I guess the early 04, 05 teams that beat the Eagles. I think in the NFC Championship, where you have Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch. I think at one point, Booger McFarland was on that team. Like really nasty, just defensive teams. I would probably have to. It's either between Warren Sapp or Derek Brooks for me, and I'd probably have to go Warren Sapp.
I would go Warren Sapp
I don't
too,
know.
just because when we're thinking about the question, first guy pop in your head when you watch them, as a kid, it's it's
Probably
it's definitely Warren
probably
Sapp.
Warren Sapp. Yeah.
I mean, that guy was a
That's
monster.
would you agree you think defense though? There's probably not.
Yeah,
I
I
mean you
definitely.
got Mike Evans, but you mean
Yeah, they're a little bit more recency bias, like Mike Evans and
yeah. I don't really think of a running back Mike Alscott though. He was kind of a
didn't wait.
he's kind of a fullback running back hybrid, but
We didn't
he
have.
just
Did we have him at one point?
I don't think so. I
No.
don't know. We had John Ritchie,
John Ritchie.
but all right, let's wrap it up here so we can give the guys a chance to have some fun with this next time. Carolina Panthers. And I'll let you
Ooh.
give that first answer. I had to think about it for a while. Actually, there's probably a good
Oh, I'm
there's some
blanking
good
on the
answers
guy's
here.
name. I know
There's some good answers here. Say the position, I could probably help you.
linebacker.
Luke Kuechly?
Yeah, Luke Kuechly. Yep, Luke
That's
Kuechly, dude. That
a
guy
great
was
answer. That's a great
unreal, dude.
answer.
There's a end I think I'm thinking of, and I also can't
Defensive
remember.
end,
Yeah,
Julius Peppers.
yeah, Julius Peppers. Yeah, I'm bad with the names right now, but they're in my head.
I love a Luke Kuechly for a modern day guy. If we're talking about this question in another 10 years, it's probably CMC. Might be a good answer too.
Yeah,
But I would have to say it's got to be Steve Smith. It's got to be Steve Smith.
it's a good one too. Steve Smith was
But
a
I would,
legend.
as far as my argument, it's probably him or Julius Peppers. But Luke Kuechly, great answer. Great
Dude,
answer.
Kuechly, I just like remember I remember watching
Great.
him all
I
the
mean,
time, and recently, not recently, but like a couple, I think it was like a couple of years ago, I was just watching highlights, and he's one of them that popped up. That guy was a genius, dude.
oh, he
So
was
fucking smart, dude.
so smart. Retired early,
And
which was a
also
shame.
also just like an athletic freak, dude. Like when you
I
put
think
those
he had
things
it.
together
Yeah,
on like
yeah.
the linebacker position, especially back then, he was a force, dude.
It's like what more could you want? What
Yeah,
literally more could you want?
led the
I think he,
defense.
I think he might have been an MVP, which to get that for a defensive guy is
Did he
crazy.
win MVP?
I think he might have won
That's
MVP once,
impressive. That's insane.
but
That just says how like
unless
all I'm trying to say that basically the guy's
unless
unreal.
unless it was Cam in that same year, 2014, go to the Super Bowl, clearly leader of that defense that helped
Oh
get
yeah,
them there.
very clear leader of the defense.
All right. We'll go NFC West, East, and the AFC next time, but I think it's good for us to wrap it up here.
Sounds
We'll
good.
leave it open to have some fun with Harsha and Jackson for next time. But
Yeah, this is
it's
a
been a
good one.
fun it's been a fun podcast.
Yep.
I feel like it was just an easy for the Lions. It's just easy. We're gonna win it, and let's just have a fun
There's
season.
no easy games in the NFL, but this one should be an easy one.
I feel like it should be a wrap. But we'll wrap it up there. We landed episode 29, and we'll see you guys next time for a
See you
30
guys.
burger.
Yep. See you guys next
All right.
time. Go Birds.
Peace. Go Birds.